Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. This is your reading for the first week of 2025. So many happy returns for the new year. Yours is looking one of the best readings that I have done thus far. Yours and Leo are the most wonderful. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because my husband and I are both those star signs. This is genuinely how the cards have fallen out. We start with the Ace of Pentacles, the card that indicates new seeds, growth, expansion, sometimes new money, but certainly new opportunities. And as we move into the new year, that's all of what it's about, really. For some star signs, that has been a little bit more challenging to see. They have been tipping into a sense of overwhelm. But with you, Cancer, it's really understanding that wherever we lay the seeds, that's where abundance will follow. A good time to reflect just gently. You don't have to create any giant to-do list by any means, but just gently reflecting on actually, what do I want to cultivate for the year ahead? What do I want to build upon? What actions can I start taking that would be conducive to that? And just really small things. Do you need to slightly tighten up your morning routine? Do you just need to carve out a little bit of time for that thing that you've wanted to do for a while now? But just a lovely, lovely energy to start the reading with and on, just knowing that, yeah, that there is this huge potential for growth. What that looks like just this second, it doesn't matter, but keeping that sense of optimism and hope moving forward. We follow that with the Hierophant, the Hierophant being the High Pope, the spiritual leader. So there's definitely a potential here for spiritual growth as well. This has been a little bit of a recurring theme, so prominent for some star signs more than others, with regards to making space, making time, and prioritizing one's spiritual practice. So this, again, is very applicable to you, Cancer. Is where are we creating space and time for spiritual connection? That could be on community. That could be our own spiritual practice, meditation, prayer, healing, whatever that looks like. And then we have the Four of Pentacles, the Lord of Earthly Power. It's nice. There's a really lovely balance here throughout your reading, because the Hierophant, as I mentioned, there is more of the spiritual aspirant aspect. It has a very spiritual thrust, whereas the Four of Pentacles, being the Lord of Earthly Power, is in some ways the reverse, but then in some ways not. But Pentacles being about earth, health and wealth, money, finances, would be a very good opportunity this week to look at what state our finances in. There is a tendency, as I'm sure many of us know, of slightly overspending, overextending ourselves. I try to combine those two words, and that doesn't mean that anything within this looks out of balance necessarily, or looks a cause for worry by any means. But you can see that the character within the Four of Pentacles has got the coins beneath his feet and the coin to his chest and wrapped tightly. This can sometimes indicate a stuckness, but in this instant, in this case, I don't think that applies, particularly as we have that energy with the Ace of Pentacles, and it's almost like the pentacle in the heart, right in the middle of the chest, is this blown up. Therefore, it's a good week to get on top of your finances, pull out your balance sheet and just be quite sensible. This isn't about giving yourself a hard time. It's not being regimented and stiff and thinking, I have to watch every penny necessarily, but it is useful to just kind of go, okay, what have I got? Where does it need to be placed? A little bit of light budgeting isn't gonna do you any harm whatsoever. Perhaps more importantly, the fact that I'm really drawn to the pentacle that is close to the chest, is close to the heart, is where am I going to invest my time, energy, and resource that really brings me happiness, that brings me joy. That doesn't mean that you can necessarily have to shirk your responsibilities, your financial responsibilities. It doesn't mean that you have to ditch your job. Could be, but it's more around have dare I say, I'm going to kind of give you permission to, if some of your resolutions or some of the things that you really want to accomplish and achieve this year require a little bit of investment, maybe now is the time. It's a little bit like, well, if you want to be an artist, maybe it's time to invest in that paintbrush set. Again, this is more if the budget, if your budgeting allows. It's probably why my guides and the cards slightly led me there first. But then if it's not going to break the bank or bring things out of balance, then I would really encourage looking at actually maybe some of the finances this year is less about what I can obtain, but what can I invest into that would have long-term positive implications for me, my personal growth, and for those things that I'm looking to cultivate and achieve throughout the year. So yeah, a really nice energy actually with the Four of Pentacles. As I mentioned, sometimes I see it as this slightly stagnant and stuck energy. The four being the number of stability and security. The Pentacles love being in the number four because it is perhaps some of the slower moving energies. It's very rigid. They both like stability and security, but it can sometimes lead to things getting a bit stuck and stale. But in this instance, it seems more around do that first and then look at what's left over. And if there is anything left over, I would certainly encourage you to invest in building the foundations and getting the requisite tools, space, whatever it is you need in order to be able to create. Feels great. And it's really lovely to see the Queen of Cups. I often see the Queen of Cups as the Cancer. I don't think she is the sign of Cancer. I'd have to double check. But I often see her as this kind of Cancerian energy. Obviously, Cups being the sign of water as Cancer, very linked with the emotions, very emotionally aware, can at times have this slightly hard exterior, but this soft interior. But there's just again a little, and this is very slight and very gentle, but just that slight internal emotional examination. That's why I said before that there's a nice balance, there's a nice mix. The fact that you've got these quite spiritual cards with the Hierophant, these very earthly cards with the Four of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles, and then this more emotional energy with the Queen of Cups. So it feels as though you're doing the right amount in the right way. You haven't weighted too much in one suit. Therefore, the Queen of Cups is just reminding, okay, what do I need emotionally for the year ahead? And that leads beautifully with the Two of Cups, the Lord of Love, Venus in Cancer. So perfect card for you. And it's all about equal exchange. Equal exchange. So some of the question for the year ahead is there enough give and take? Do I feel as though I've recently been giving more than I've been receiving, or receiving more than I've been giving? Are there things that I need to do in order to bring a better balance into my relationships, particularly? But this is also the card of merchants. We have Hermes' staff in the background, and he is the god of merchants. So ensuring that we feel not only that we're doing what we love in those ways that I spoke about before with that Ace of Pentacles, investing our time and resources in things that are really going to sustain us, fulfill us, particularly on an emotional and heart-led level. Again, I think this is very similar to what I said to Leo. Leo also had the Ace of Pentacles. So this expansiveness and this ability to grow, particularly in areas that we feel very emotionally connected to. It's not so much about investing, let's say, in property or investing into stocks and shares. That could be kind of literally, but more metaphorically, but rather investing into areas that are heart-led passions, are heart-led passions. Those things that are going to enable us to do more of what we love. And that's why I kind of use this example of, if you want to be a painter, go out and buy a paint palette and the brushes and the paints, so that it can be set up. But yeah, a really, really lovely energy with the Two of Cups, entering the year with a sense of not feeling shortchanged, not feeling that things are out of balance, maybe feeling restored and renewed for some time with friends and family, feeling replenished, particularly with the Queen of Cups. I often see the Queen of Cups as the spa card. So hopefully you're feeling somewhat renewed. And if you are, the trick is not just to tackle and go straight back into things, but rather look at, okay, what can I do that is going to mean that I'm creating more time, more energy, and more resource to do what my heart is telling me to do. So really nice spread, as I say. One of the definitely up there with one of the best for the week. So that sounds great. If you want more, I would really go and check out your rising sign, your moon sign, and sun sign. If you're not sure how to do that, you can visit the website under offerings. You'll find free weekly readings, and it gives a description on how to discover those as well. I would recommend going to check out Leo, just because there is a fair bit of overlap. But until next week, have a wonderful, wonderful start to the year, and see you then. Bye for now.